Where's Donny? Oh shit, you didn't hear? Okay, it all went south because Donny got a good lead on some cheap weed. Because of that, he was able to cut his prices way low for the summer. But then Big Sal heard about that, and he thought he was like disrespectful and shit. He thought Donny was doing it just to fuck with him, to be an asshole. See, you gotta remember, this was just a few months after Big Sal had been put through his own front window, and that shit had not only fucked up his face, but folks were saying that his personal coke consumption had just about doubled ever since he'd gotten out of the hospital. So now he's got all these big, gnarly scars all over his face, and he's putting a pound of blow up each nostril every morning just to stay awake. So he's fucking paranoid, man. But like, who wouldn't be? He's probably got PTSD from being thrown through a goddamn window by a little kid with glowing eyes. But what's he gonna do, go get counseling? He's a fucking hardcore gangster motherfucker. Those guys don't talk to people about their problems. They just do more drugs and occasionally freak out and beat somebody to death. All you can really do is keep your head down and hope that whenever he does go off, it's on somebody who's got it coming and that it ain't you. So Big Sal, he sends a couple of guys over to pick up Donny. They go over to Donny's place and knock on the door. Donny opens up and sees it's these two big fuckers in black suits. One of them was Vinny, who's just like a big guy. But the other was Marcus, and he got that treatment that made his skin all tough like leather. Made him almost bulletproof, but it also turned him that weird splotchy green-brown color and kind of messed up his face a little. So Donny sees these two big guys in matching black hitman suits, one of whom looks like a giant space alien that eats people, and Donny freaks out. Doesn't say shit, just slams the door, grabs a bunch of his gear, throws it in a bag, and goes out the back window. Of course, he's on the third goddamn floor, so he fucks up his leg in the landing. But anyway, at least he's gone then, right? Except Donny ain't got no place to go. He was never too good at making friends, you know? So he's on the east side, running through alleys and keeping his head down, when who does he run into but the fucking free radical? She's just like hanging out, smoking a joint in the alley by herself up on a rooftop, but like on the edge of it so he can see her. And then he starts waving his arms around so she'll notice him. He tells her this bullshit story about how these two gangsters are chasing him down because he won a bunch of cash off another gangster in a crooked card game. But he needs the cash to get medicine for his daughter because she's real sick. So now, the free radical's on board, right? Vinny and Marcus finally catch up, and she fucks them both up good. Vinny goes in first because he doesn't recognize her, and she snaps one of his arms and then breaks 3 of his ribs, kicking him across the alley. Fucking Marcus, he ain't impressed, even after seeing what happened to Vinny, so he rolls up on her like he's a big fucking tough guy, right? Not scared of nothing. And, to his credit, Donny says he took a good hit like a champ, and even gave one back. But then she grabs one of his arms and twists it around him until his elbow sort of shatters out the wrong way. He's fucked up for life now, you know? He'll probably never get proper use of that hand back. So she turns around, but now for real, Donny's in the wind. He stayed to see her finish Marcus off, but not a second longer. And he's pretty fast when he wants to be. Not like supernaturally fast or anything. Just quick. But see, I think that's what his mistake was. Running. I think if he just stuck around to thank her and then taken off, he would have been fine. But instead he ran. And, probably just out of instinct or something, she chased him. And when she chases him, I don't know, maybe by then she just didn't like the way he looked and she was starting to suspect she'd been played. So when she catches him, she does it kind of hard, sends him tumbling. And when Donny hits the ground, all his gear goes flying. Bunch of weed, some coke, couple of bags of pills, bunch of shit like that. And now she knows. He's not some gambler earning in a crooked card game to buy his daughter some medicine. He's a fucking low-life scumball dealer, and he just used her. Now, she doesn't beat him up or nothing, but she doesn't let him pick up his gear, and she takes him across the city to one of those big fucking skyscrapers downtown, and she carries him up the side of it with one hand. Almost drops him a bunch of times. And the whole time, she's giving him this speech about how it's not good to use people or to lie to people or to fuck people around just because it's convenient. And then, swear to God, Donny admits it himself. 3/4 of the way up, outside the 70th goddamn floor of the RBC Tower, he fucking shits himself. He says she nearly left him there on the side of the building at that point, in which case he for sure 100% would have died. But instead, she hauled him the last of the way up, and then just left him up there. He had to bang on the roof access door for like 3 hours before a janitor came up to let him inside. I think the janitor gave him a spare pair of coveralls to change into as well, given as Donny had been standing around in his shit-filled pants that whole time. Anyway, he got out of dealing for good and basically skipped town that weekend. He came by to see me first, that's how I know his parts of the story. And Big Sal was pissed. Because he was out 2 guys. But what was he gonna do? Throw more muscle at the free radical? Just to have even more of them fucked up? Big Sal might be crazy, but he ain't stupid. So yeah, that's what happened to Donny, and why you don't see him around no more. Well, here's to Donny. He was a fuck up, and he shit himself. It could have happened to any one of us, but luckily, it happened to him.